Hey everybody, Dave here, Hidden Freedom. In this video, we're going to talk about the taxes for JEPI. It's been a few years since I've done a tax video on JEPI, so we're going to do an update video for 2024, and it would be for tax season of 2023. And that way it'll help us prepare for future years as well. So I'll actually basically talk about, for 2021, I'll talk about 2022 and 2023 taxes. Let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, just to recap, in 2022, I did a video for the 2021 taxes on JEPI. And JEPI basically had most of its was ordinary income from its dividend. And then there was a small portion that was qualified, and that's all it was. So I think it was 15% was qualified and 85% was ordinary. For 2022, so that was 2023 that we filed for 2022 tax season, it was actually significantly higher on the ordinary side and lower on the qualified side. All right, so that brings us to, for tax year 2023. So let's go ahead and take a look at some documents here. We're looking at the JP Morgan JEPI document here on their website. And this is just showing you the ex-dividend date, record date, pay date, and then dividends paid. Unfortunately, it's actually missing the February and the January. But that's okay. Just wanted to kind of give you an idea where you can find this information. But as you can see on this page here, it doesn't tell you what's qualified. It doesn't tell you what is going to be ordinary. And they don't actually put out any documentation like QYLD, XYLD, NUSI, and some of those other ones, right? Some of those other ones actually put out documents stating what they believe it's going to be for the end of the year. The breakdown, right? A lot of those other ones that I just mentioned pay ordinary, they pay qualified, and they pay return of capital and stuff like that, right? You know, I was just kind of showing you here, we got the dividends paid, and that is going to be grouped into the two categories that I mentioned. Usually, the very last one here, so ex-dividend date would be December 28th, and the record date is December 29th, and then actually got paid in 2024, but that counts for year of 2023, tax year 2023. So we'll look at that as well, and that's probably the reason why that one is slightly bigger there as well. I know JEPI has been slowly going down on their distributions over the last several months, but I think it'll stabilize around 7%, so whatever that is. So let's go ahead and take a look at the documents that I received from JEPI. Let's see here. All right, so this is my tax document that I received from Schwab here, and JP Morgan Equity Premium JEPI there. And then we got paid in 2023, $17,665.17. Paid adjusted in 2024 for 2023, and that's minus $2,415.94. That brings a grand total of $15,249.23. Now, I'm only speculating what this is here, this $2,415. I think what it is it gets paid out, as we're looking back here, it actually gets paid out at the beginning of January right there. And I don't think that Schwab technically knows what the classification is, whether it's going to be qualified or whether it's going to be ordinary. So I think it's a later date that actually gets reported to Schwab, probably in February, because I didn't get this document until the middle of February. And then they make the adjustment then. So that's what that is showing right there. If we scroll down here, so that's ordinary dividend, right? So we have $15,249.23 of ordinary. Then we scroll down here, we got the qualified dividends here. We got JP Morgan Equity Premium. And then we have over $3,183.80 that was paid out in 2024, but it counts towards 2023. And that was most likely this last payout here in December, but it was paid out in 2024. So that's likely what that was. All right, so now we got the ordinary and we have the qualified, and I scrolled through the rest of the document here. There actually is no return of capital for JEPI. So those are the two categories that were received for JEPI. So it's just like 2021, just like 2022. The only difference is actually the breakout. So I got the classifications here broken out. I basically took those numbers that I just showed in the document and put them in here in this Excel spreadsheet here. So ordinary is $15,249.20. And that is whatever ordinary bracket you fall in. We'll talk about the brackets here in a second. And then I transcribed the qualified over to the qualified section of $3,183.80. The qualified dividends, just like any other qualified dividend, like ExxonMobil or Chevron or JP Morgan, any, T or any of those other individual dividend paying stocks or qualified dividends would be taxed at the 15% tax bracket, with the exception is maybe if you are in a super high tax bracket over $400,000 or something like that, you might be taxed at 20% on your qualified dividends. But for most people, they're not going to fall into that bracket, so it's going to be 15%. So the ordinaries, that's just ordinary income. And that's going to get taxed at whatever bracket you happen to fall in. For me, it's anywhere from like 32 to 35% or something like that. So whatever bracket you fall in, that's where that will get taxed at. So obviously, JEPI is not the most tax friendly out there, but it is what it is. You're in that because it pays a decent yield. It has some upside. It's pretty defensive, and it basically pays out monthly as well, right? So it's the best of all three worlds. That's the reason why we're in JEPI, right? If we wanted to be in something else that just had return of capital, yeah, I mean, it's kind of as I like to put it, is a Ponzi scheme, because that's kind of what it is, right? Something like XYLD and QYLD and whatnot, well, those will have some return of capital. But in 2021, I did a tax video on those. There was zero return of capital those years. I don't know for 2023 or 2022 because I did not own those, but I just know in 2021 it had zero return of capital, even though they projected it being almost all return of capital. So people really got slammed with a high tax bill that year. So this brings my total income for JEPI in 2023 to $18,433, and this is only my taxable account. I did not take into consideration my tax deferred account, because I did own some JEPI earlier this year in my tax deferred accounts as well. So these are my Schwab payouts here. I just took this CSV file, and that's broken out by the months there. And then you got the prior year cash dividends. So I got paid in January, but that counts for the prior year in 2023, just like we were talking about. And then we run another script there, and it basically just adds all these up right there. And we should get the same number, $18,433.03. So everything is jiving there. By adding all those up, we get $18,433.03. And then if I add the two numbers in here, $15,249.23 and the $31,83.80, I get the same number, $18,433. So I know that my calculations are correct. So let's talk about this last number here. So we had qualified was over 17.2% was qualified dividends from JEPI this year. Well, 2023 tax season, let me just get that correct there. And then ordinary fell down to 82.7%. So last year, like I said, it was actually below 15% qualified. And then the prior year, so 2022, the last time I did a video on JEPI, it actually fell to, I think it was at 15% qualified that year. So year 2022 was 15% qualified, and then for 2022 tax season, not the 2021. I know it gets confusing, but I want to say it was down near 13% or somewhere around there. Could have even been lower. I don't have the calculations in front of me because I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I just know that looking at the numbers, that was actually significantly lower and qualified for some reason last year. But I'm okay with this, right? I mean, you got some qualified dividends in there, so you're not going to be taxed at the highest amount. We got ordinary, but we're not in JEPI just for qualified dividends, right? If we look back here at my document, I got a bunch of SPY in there as well, and then going forward for 2020, for 2024, I'm mostly always all invested into SPY at this point, right? If you look at my portfolio here right now, and we scroll down here and just look at the SPY, over $1.5 million in SPY and projected to get $20,000 in income from SPY. Now, granted, all of that is in the taxable account. It'll be $9,400 will be in the taxable account. So if we go back here and look at the composite document, it paid ordinary dividends of $2,100, right? But only 272 of that was actually counted as ordinary. All right, we scroll down here, qualified dividends right there, and it came out to $4,483 was qualified. So, and then you got a small section down here that is 199A. I know that this is not a video on SPY, and maybe I should just do a separate video on SPY, but we got $191.68 there as the 199A, which is basically like business income. So it's preferable in type income. So there you have it. That is the tax document information for JEPI. And, if something changes for 2024, I'll probably make a video next year on SPY as well. Or maybe I'll even do one this year. I'm not really sure. I'm not going to do a video on Devo, even though I owned it partially last year. I'm not going to do a video on SCHD, even though I owned part of that last year as well. Just because I did not own them for the entire year, so it makes no sense to do a video on it because I don't know. They could have paid out a large distribution near the end of the year, like a lot of these end up doing, and then the information would actually be wrong. So that's it. You're just going to get a video on JEPI. If you have any questions on this video, leave me a comment down below. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.